हौसला छोड़ो ना, हौसला दे दो ना, हौसला जाना है दूर तुझे। हौसला छोड़ो ना, हौसला दे दो ना, हौसला जाना है दूर तुझे। सतरंगी समा है हाथ रंगी फिजा है क्यों है ना, बोलो ना। सतरंगी समा है हाथ रंगी फिजा है क्यों है ना, बोलो ना। हौसला छोड़ो ना, हौसला दे दो ना, हौसला जाना है दूर तुझे। हौसला छोड़ो ना, हौसला दे दो ना, हौसला जाना है दूर तुझे। सतरंगी समा है हाथ रंगी फिजा है क्यों है ना, बोलो ना। सतरंगी समा है हाथ रंगी फिजा है क्यों है ना, बोलो ना। हमरा ही है, हमरा ही है, हमरा जी है। हमरा ही है, हमरा ही है, हमरा जी है। सावन में तो जाए बेहरवा, सावन में तो जाए बेहरवा। मन मेरा घबराए, मन मेरा घबराए। सो गए परदेस पिया तुम, ऐसो गए परदेस पिया तुम। चैन हमें नहीं आ बेहरवा जब हम ना होंगे तो बेहरवा बोलो क्या तब आओगे बोलो क्या तब आओगे मोरा सैया मुँह से बोले ना मोरा सैया मुँह से बोले ना मैं लाख जतन कर हारी लाख जतन कर हार रही मोरा सैया मुँह से बोले ना मोरा सैया मुँह से बोले ना मैं लाख जतन कर हारी लाख जतन कर हार रही
Mark, I can't believe how drunk you are.
I am not drunk.
Yes, you are.
I am not fucking drunk.
Can you tell the time?
Yes. I am not fucking drunk.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is the captain of JL50 speaking. We are experiencing.
Now, black peppers, 1 whole onion chopped, and a good sprig of fresh thyme. I'm just going to pop into the blender with the fingers and everything, ever so simple if you break that down. Sort of bind, that's it. The other ingredients are 50 ml of a dark soy. Not only that it's the most important thing. That's beautiful. Pour that on top of meat. Give your meat a good old rub. That's it. Nice and hot. Hot and spicy meat. Yeah, boy. That's it. And turn it over. Don't be for 40 minutes, maybe even an hour. Jerk it.
So now since morning we don't do they clean this place. My mates they don't even come out safe. They wait for motor. When motor them come carry everything come out.
Wow, that's good. So where are you from?
Where are from?
Yes,
I'm from Edo State.
Edo State. Okay, interesting. So what is your name?
My name.
Yes, your name.
My name na Ovuvwe enye tuenwe ugbemugem osas.
Pardon? Come again.
Ovuvwe enye tuenwe ugbemugem osas.
I mean, what is your name? Your name. Afagi.
Now my name I call for you now.
Call it again.
Ovuvwe enye tuenwe ugbemugem osas.
Spell them.
I don't feel spell am.
That'll be your name. I know if
Now, black peppers, 1 whole onion chopped, and a good.
We bring in the studio this morning one of the gay rights activists, Mr. Should I call you Mr? Sure. Pepe Julian Onzima. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you for
Good
having
morning.
me. Morning to you.
Why are you gay?
Who says I'm gay?
You are gay. You are lesbian, homosexual? How can I describe you? As gender, you were initially male or female?
The sex that was assigned to me at birth was female.
And you opted to become male. Did you discover that you were actually meant to be male? Gay rights activists, why should someone be gay? So as we stand today, are you dating any female?
Yes, I am.
You have a girlfriend?
Yes, I do.
While in transition, you're having a girlfriend?
Yes.
Do you perform the natural obligations? Doesn't that make you gay?
What do you mean, doesn't that make me gay? I am male and attracted to a female.
So who is gay?
Good
Как мы знаем, самые известные диджеи играют транс. Ведь это именно то направление, которым мы могли насладиться сегодня, здесь и сейчас. Что такое транс, выясняла Рейн. Скажите, а что за музыка играет сейчас?
Насколько я не ошибаюсь, по-моему, транс. Транс, обещали транс играет. Ну, к транс-музыке как бы мы относимся позитивно. На самом деле, вот, ну, транс-музыка вообще представляет себя, это музыка, которая объединяет людей, вот, музыка для большой арены, как сказать, музыка позитива всегда, музыка, как бы я сказал, музыка любви бы больше, я бы как бы сказал, то есть, люди все танцуют, тянут руки к танцполу, к лазеру, то есть, ну, все великолепно, все позитивно. Мало людей, очень мало людей для такой музыки, очень мало. Очень мало народу, да. Очень, беспонтовая музыка. На самом деле, очень плохая музыка.
А зачем вы пришли сюда?
Я думал, намного лучше будет это все. И очень плохая музыка, просто очень плохая музыка. Я думал, намного лучше это все будет. Сколько раз сюда ходил, было намного лучше. Но на этот раз как-то не удалось. Во-первых, народу мало, музыка не очень.
А что за направление?
А?
Что за направление?
The structure that I really want to show you is right over here. This is the Leaning Tower of Pisa on our campus here. And the person that's built it is right around the corner here. It's Brian Varney. Careful that corner. Brian is a 1990 graduate of Northern, and he's going to tell us a little bit about this amazing structure.
Well, it's, as you can see, the Leaning Tower of Pisa. It's about 12,000 blocks. It took over 2 weekends to build, and I'm really excited because next week the Guinness Book of World Records team are going to come to evaluate it, and I'm really looking forward to that.
Hello? Oh. Jeez, Brian, I don't know what to say. Sorry about this. I guess we'll go back to Dale.
All this is all
सिर उठा के देखा आकाश दिल में पहरा दे
2 hours and 15 minutes away. Yes, welcome. Welcome to the stream. Yes, I'm just going to quickly say hello to you guys. How is it going? Deep Rohit, how's it going? Siddhant Raj, thank you, my friend. Shivam Rohila, welcome. Uday, welcome. How are you guys doing? You guys doing good? Everyone doing okay? How does my voice sound? Today we have Nishant also is joining us on the panel. Let me just quickly pivot. Friends, welcome. The usual suspects. Welcome. Abhish Matthew is here. Abhish Hopi in the chat. Abhish is wearing a nightie today, which is very nice to see. We have, of course, a neurologist. What is the exact designation, Sid? MD, brain master, brain guy.
Damn, now that sounds cooler. I wish it was that.
The brain guy. We're going to call him the brain guy. We have Siddharth Warrior, Siddharth OP in chat. We have new learner with us today. We have Mr. Nishant Singh Tanwar. Welcome, Nishant. How are you doing? Nishant, have you met Dr. Warrior here? Dr. Warrior,
no,
that Nishant is also a comedian.
Hi, Nishant. I know.
Hi.
How's it going?
Hi. Also, Abhish, you have lost weight, bro.
Yeah, man. खाना बनाना नहीं आता और washing machine नहीं है.
क्या पतला लग रहा है, bro?
Hilarious. Okay. Good thing. A good thing, Abhish. We all should lose weight. I should not be the one to speak. Kaniz is slightly late, guys. Kaniz bas ghar pe pahunch ke she will join us. In the meanwhile, Sid, what have people been asking you since the time that you started streaming with me? I'm assuming a lot of people have been messaging, especially after the depression stream. How has that been? What are people saying? How has that experience been?
It's been surreal, dude. There has been the whole range of messages, all the way from thanks for talking about this. This is so important. It needs to be said. All the way to what they are personally going through and what kind of help they can get. It's been both surreal and very real. You know, if you know what I mean. It's
surreal and got it. I know what you mean.
Yeah. So I'm glad we did that. I approached it from an academic sense for me, but the last 1 week, it really highlighted how important it was that we talk about this and this conversation continues, you know, even with other people. It's important. I'm glad we did that.
All right. That's good to hear. Friends, today we are going to talk about something that we all go through, right? It is what we call in pop culture as love. It is something that we all, it's a natural progression in the human life cycle. We all are born, then we all, if the crush also likes you back, then you start dating. And when you start dating, there is always a moment जहाँ पे आपको लगता है कि ये हम serious है एक दूसरे के बारे में, क्या यही प्यार है? And then the big question, which is it ready? Am I ready to say I love you to this person? Today we're going to discuss what is exactly going on in your brain when you feel what we call love. Sid, take it away. We are all yours. Let's begin.
Awesome. Okay.
Tanmay, can I just say that explanation of a love story of yours? How accurate can that be?
Guys, before we start, फटाफट like दबा दो यार. फटाफट 2,200 people are watching. फटाफट like दबा दो. Let's get 1,500 likes on this. Let's begin, Sid. Over to
you. All right. So what you've already covered the whole story. That's pretty much what happens in most of our lives. And when we talk about love, the word can bring about a lot of. Hey, Kaniz is here.
Hey, can you relate for class? Is there punishment?
Sorry, sir.
No problem, Kaniz.
That's okay.
No problem. We were just beginning.
Please, can I borrow your notes after class?
No, it's my notes.
अभीश ने attendance mark किया था आपका, तो चल जाएगा.
चल जाएगा. Proxy लग गया. All right, Sid, continue.
Okay, so when we talk about love, the word, brings about a lot of memories, a lot of connotations in your mind. So when I ask someone, so what is love? They can come up with a lot of adjectives. It can be beautiful, exciting, exhilarating, once in a lifetime. It can be calming. Love is perfect. There are also a lot of other things. So you can love is scary, terrifying, commitment. There is a lot of jealousy. So a lot of these different shades are associated with the idea of love. So that is why it's a little challenging to decode it, to talk about exactly what is love. It's much more easier to think about what happens in love, because that is something we all know. So I thought that we could start off with that. We could start off as an exercise in what happens in love. So I'm going to tell you certain things that I think happen in love, and you tell me if it rings a bell with you. So when you fall in love, does your heart start beating really fast?
Yes.
Do your hands, you may feel your hands have become cold, or you feel too hot?
Yeah, you feel warmy and flushy. Kaal pe
Yes.
aise garam lagne lagta hai.
Shivers down your spine.
Yeah, like your cheeks become red. You get goosebumps.
Yes. Your mouth can get dry. You can't think straight. You don't know what you're going to say when you're in that moment.
Yes, erection boner also. I'm not going to say it, but I just
what?
put it out there.
What are you talking about?
Erection boner.
Yeah. That's not love, Tanmay. That's lust. Okay, I have never loved someone and immediately body has never.
Abish, of all people, you should understand erection and boner, but sure. Continue, sir.
So all the things that I just said, that feeling of impending something, that feeling as if you are going to give a viva any minute, that feeling of something about to happen. All of these things happen in love, but all this is also a description of a panic attack.
What?
So all the things I just described.
That's what I've been feeling all this while.
Yeah. All the things I just described is a panic attack. That is how a panic attack is described in literature.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Wow.
Who's writing this literature?
Now, keep that on one side. Then let's continue with the description of love.
Yeah. Okay.
We get repeated thoughts. We think about them all the time, even when we are working. We can't wait to be with them. You'll do anything for them. You make personal sacrifices.
Yes.
You adjust your reality to make them fit into your world, even if they didn't have space in your world before.
Correct.
And whatever you do for them, it's worth it. It makes it all okay if you can get that approval.
Validation, acceptance, the need for comfort and safety. You know,
this whole thing.
Maslow's pyramid के नीचे वाले जो 3 slabs होते हैं.
जो नीचे वाले हैं.
Correct.
So all the things that I just described is how addiction is described.
Okay, you're really unnecessarily attacking
You
this beautiful feeling
this
today. Okay, Sid.
guys, screenshot this. This is what you're saying. Love equals panic attack. This is what I'm learning.
Abhish, don't take on half information. 1 second.
Is that why when you say what is love, the next sentence is baby don't hurt me?
Baby don't hurt me.
Interesting. Okay, continue, Sid. Continue. Okay, point noted.
Are you sure you want to go down this road?
So the feelings, just to recap, the feelings that you feel during love, the physical manifestation of these feelings, वो symptoms panic attack में भी हमें दिखते हैं.
Yes.
Okay? And what's the second point? If we can sum it up once again.
जो मेंटल चेंजेस होते हैं कि हम बार बार सोचते रहते हैं, हम उनके लिए कुछ भी करेंगे, हम सैक्रिफाइसेस करेंगे उनके लिए, और वो जो हाई जो मिलता है उसके लिए जो भी करना है वो वर्थ इट हो जाता है. That is all seen in addictive behavior.
Addictive behavior. Correct. माल के लिए इंसान अक्सर ऐसे बिहेव करता है कि मैं कुछ कॉम्प्रोमाइज कर दूंगा, मैं ये नहीं करूंगा, मैं वो नहीं करूंगा, बस ये जाना नहीं चाहिए मेरी जिंदगी से. Okay, understood. Okay.
And one last thing, there's when you get these thoughts again and again, these thoughts will make you want to do things repeatedly. So whether it's calling them, meeting them, whatever, but it will influence your behavior. You'll keep feeling like doing things again and again, and you believe that once I do this, my life will be complete.
Correct.
You can see where I'm going with this. Can you tell me what this is?
No man can complete my life.
That's what you say on the weekdays. On weekends, I'm on call with you. Sid, just relieve us from this pain and tell us what are these symptoms of.
Tanmay, I'm sorry to say this is OCD.
So symptoms, all the just to recap, the physical manifestations of love are similar to the physical manifestations of a panic attack, right? The mental manifestations of love, how we mental जो thoughts आते हैं हमें, उनके बिना हम जी नहीं सकते, उनके लिए हम कुछ भी करेंगे, हम adjust करेंगे. They are similar to how addicts behave. They are symptoms of addiction. And the last one, Sid, if you could repeat the last one, हिंदी में बताइए.
Behavior.
कि जो हम behavior जो love के वजह से जो होता है, कि हम बार बार उनके बारे में सोचते हैं और कोई चीज बार बार करते हैं उनके लिए, और हमको लगता है कि ये करने से मेरा लाइफ कंप्लीट हो जाएगा,
सब कुछ ठीक हो जाएगा, सब कुछ ठीक लगता है. Those are symptoms of OCD. OCD यानी obsessive compulsive disorder.
Now, it is very, very important to mention that those things are all disorders. So something going wrong with your network. But the fact that these things can even happen to all of us means that love is not a disorder, but these things are happening. And now
we all have herd immunity to love.
Yeah, maybe it is a disorder.
Okay, interesting. Continue, Sid. Sorry for interrupting.
No, that's okay. I'm going to remember that thought. I'll think about it. So, because if we are serious about love being a disorder, then that would make love the most common cause of mental health problems in this world.
Yes.
And we don't want to do that. That is not the message we want to send out.
Of course. No, love is beautiful also.
Love is very beautiful.
Love is very beautiful. Yeah.
Correct. But this is a good starting point to understand that if everybody is going through it, and it is obviously such a like a vast experience, why are we going through this? Why has evolution decided to put us all through this really traumatic, beautiful experience?
Why has evolution decided to put us through this dramatic experience? It's interesting that you said evolution, because it almost feels like we're all destined to go through it at some point, because that's just how our species is. Interesting. Continue.
Are you saying that love is this part of the brain, the new evolved, the latest evolved one? What is that?
No, you have to go long way back.
Oh, all the way back.
All the way down.
I can't wait for the diagrams on this. मेरे को जानने के लिए दिमाग में कहाँ पे है प्यार.
So then, if you can allow me to share the screen.
Just gonna do that.
In meanwhile, I have the perfect pickup line for a girl. Hey girl, I'm addicted to this panic attack you give me while triggering my OCD. It means I'm in love with you. Right?
Oh, what a nice one, Abhish. Sid, I've given you permission. All right.
Yes. So if she has seen this video, she'll know what you are talking about.
There's no she, by the way. Just you guys.
Sorry, I'm gonna fix this. Because...
All right then. Moving on.
More hypothetical for Abhish.
Hilarious. Someone has said love is Haseen Dard in some sense. Aditya has said that.
Okay.
Guys, you guys can send in your chats. We will go through all of it at the end of the session. All right, continue.
Okay. So now to talk about why this is happening. Why are all of our brains capable of even feeling this thing? We will go into neuroscience, and we'll also go into evolution, because in general, whenever you're confused, evolution is a good starting point to figure things out. So somebody asked for the diagram. So here it is.
Let's go.
This is the brain. This is the spinal cord. And in the middle, there is a brain stem.
Yes.
So brain stem, spinal cord, and brain. Yeah. So now this must be looking familiar to you guys.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Now, in our last discussion, we introduced a rat, and we spoke about how a rat would have an option of either searching for food or throwing himself into the river. Yeah, or dying, right? So we are going to bring that rat back into our discussion.
Oh, chuha aa gaya. Kya baat?
Chuha aa gaya. This is a very important rat for the sake of our understanding. Now, the rat can either survive or it can die. Like we said last time, it's very important for the species that the rat does not kill himself and that the rat actively tries to survive. And the two main things that the rat has to do is to make sure that the rat lives. So that means look for food, and the species lives.
Procreate.
That means, yes, correct. So procreate, has sex. This is the fundamental concept. This is how it should go. The rat has to be encouraged towards doing this and discouraged from dying. And everything that the brain does is sort of trying to nudge every animal towards this part of the option tree. Like, try and survive. Don't try to die. Try and survive. And today's discussion is going to be about this part of the tree. So how does the brain make animals want to procreate so that their species can go ahead? Right? Now, there is a fundamental difference between looking for food and looking for sex. Because when you're looking for sex, what you're actually doing is you're looking for a suitable partner.
Correct.
And that makes it a lot more complex than looking for food.
Correct.
So there is a big part of your brain anatomy, the neural system, that is dedicated for this, because you can think that how important this is. In survival, if this is 50% of the importance, then you can imagine how much resources your brain would have given just for perfecting this system.
Correct.
Yeah. So in our broad understanding of what happens, we can roughly divide it into three. One is looking for, let's for the sake of discussion, we'll call it love. So let's say looking for love, falling in love, and keeping love. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Looking for love, falling in love,
and keeping
falling in love,
and keeping love,
and maintaining love.
Maintaining it. So that is part of keeping. Now, for evolution, which of these three things would be the most important? So when I say looking for love, I mean looking for procreation.
So look, the first one, looking for love.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
So even if you don't fall in love, even if you don't keep being in love, if you're not even looking for it, then there's no point in going ahead. So the first thing that what your brain tries to do is to ensure a baseline level that you want to procreate. Okay. The next thing that your brain does after this is sorted, so maybe 1,000 million years of evolution just went in making sure that everybody is having kids. Forget about with whom, that hum log baad mein dekhenge. Once that got sorted, the brain decided that, or evolution decided that, okay, now that this is sorted, let's try to figure out if we can mate with certain people so that we have some advantages. So we can pick and choose. So this is when selective falling in love came. So now you have to choose. You're not just having kids with anyone. You have to choose somebody based on certain things that you think will be better for the next generation.
Marriage.
And for a long time, it was just this. Let's just perfect our mechanism of picking somebody good. Once this got sorted, then evolution said that, okay, now let's see if we can build on top of this. Let's see if you two can stay together and form completely
Yeah, you could repeat the first step right after the second one, like
Yeah.
looking for love, falling in love, babies, looking for love, falling in love, babies, looking for love.
Falling in love, babies.
Sorry, Sid, continue the last part.
The last part is family. So this is how, and this is over like 1 billion years. So this is how it has evolved. So we are here. But what is important to know is that we are also here and here. So just because we have evolved to raise a family and live in society. So society is like an expanded family. You can't have society without that basic concept of family.
Correct. Correct.
At least in evolution. Correct?
Once in Hindi, please, Sid, this whole briefly.
The whole thing?
Yes, just briefly.
So, okay, यहाँ से शुरू कर लेते हैं कि survive करने के लिए हर एक एनिमल को 2 इच्छा होता है कि खाना खाए एंड बच्चे पैदा करे, तो सेक्स हो जाए. तो उसमें ये समझने का 3 तरीका होता है कि सबसे पहले होता है कि वो इच्छा आनी चाहिए. दूसरा होता है कि किसके साथ बच्चा करना है. तो एक सिलेक्शन होता है कि कौन सा पैटर्न हमारे लिए अच्छा है, कौन सा पैटर्न हमारे लिए अच्छा नहीं है. और ये हर एनिमल के लिए अलग होता है. तो जैसे कि हम लोग को पता है वो, फॉर एग्जांपल द पीकॉक. नाउ पीकॉक्स हैव दिस वेरी स्पेसिफिक थिंग दैट दे स्प्रेड देयर the feathers. So all that is a way of trying to impress their mate.
Correct.
Saying select me, pick me.
Correct.
So this is one of the primitive ways. Signaling. Exactly.
तो इंसान भी तो बहुत सिग्नल करते हैं.
इंसान बॉडी बनाता है, जिम जाता
है, जिम जाता है, आईफोन खरीदता है, स्टेटस दिखाता है, ये सब करते हैं हम. करेक्ट.
I was just showing cleavage. Yeah, sorry.
Why are you telling me now?
No, correct. But women do that.
Yes.
Men do.
It's all signaling.
It's all signaling.
Yeah. And signaling is very relative to time and place. So what is signaling now would have been very bad signaling 1,000 years ago. Right? So it also evolves with the need, the time. So what are the qualities that are appreciated now would have been pretty useless. Like in 10,000 years ago, for example. So what is desirable will keep changing. So that is how evolution happens.
समझ गया.
So how does the brain do this? The interesting way is, just like I mentioned how evolution goes in this direction, similarly, these 3 things also go in this direction. I think I'm living for that reaction of yours.
तो सबसे पहले एक मेट ढूंढने की जो चाह होती है वो पहले आता है evolutionarily.
Correct. So this is called as sex drive.
Sex drive.
Basic sex drive. That do you want? So now when we say, so we have given these words, sex, love, relationship. These are all just words. These are all just concepts that we have given. But the fundamental aspect is, do you want to be with someone or not? If that is not there, then nothing else will come. So the first thing that evolution did was make sure that at least everybody wants to have kids. After that got done, the next step came here in the brainstem. And this is where falling in love happens.
Selecting, no?
Selecting. Yes.
तो इसीलिए बहुत सारे एनिमल्स भी कर सकते हैं ये, ह्यूमंस तो करते ही हैं.
Yes.
But yeah, baseline of wanting to procreate exists in all animals. उसके बाद कैसे procreate करें ढूंढना ये सारे जानवर करते हैं. It's the third part of maintaining it that humans सबसे ज़्यादा evolve हुए.
So humans. Yeah, so that is this part where it is unnecessary. That's a fourth secret part that animals haven't reached yet. But that we'll get to in the end. But so the third part is socialization. So rather family.
Sorry, Sid, when you say family, we also talk about like community. Like there's lots of African tribes that exist as a family, like a community.
Correct.
Okay.
So that is an evolved form of family. So everything has a spectrum, but the primary concept of family is that if two people have a kid, are they going to raise that kid together?
Okay.
Right? So is there, and that evolves into a communal kind of family. So that is a completely different discussion. But
okay, fine.
Right? So this is the way that evolution has made our interest in procreation at all. Now let's talk about how does the brain do this. And the first step to this, the sex drive part of this, happens over here, like in the sex organs. So that is, you have your basic hormones of testosterone and estrogen. So testosterone for men, estrogen and testosterone for women. These are the primary sex hormones. So this is what creates that fundamental backdrop.
Correct.
Okay, I think I'm ready to at least start looking for someone. So this is why when we are growing up, in children, there is nothing like this, because puberty happens at 10 to 20, 15. So before that, it's the sex hormones are still low, they're still building up. So there is no sex drive. But then as the hormones build up, this thing starts to click in. And this is true for all animals. Right? And once this is done, then we reach the interesting part, which is falling in love. And this is the part that we are all interested in. This is the part that we'll be talking about properly today. So this is the title of your...
so you're just saying that love happens somewhere here, part of the brain, right?
Correct. So if you didn't have the top part, then love would happen here. But you have the top part, so it will happen this plus everything on top. So that is how evolution works.
Correct. So it's like from here onwards, like the nervous system has nothing to do with the reactions that love gives you, right?
No,
other than the brain. Yeah, but sorry, correct.
No, so the nervous system has got everything to do with it, but it will be brainstem and above. So everything that has evolved from the brainstem and above will contribute to love.
Understood.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So now let's talk of how we fall in love. So the how part of it is for me the most interesting, because when we enter a room and there are, say, 100 people, you don't fall in love with everyone.
I mean, yeah.
Oh, well.
Well, okay. Most of us don't fall in love with them.
my heart is in my sleeve. I'm a magician of love.
Understood.
But, okay. Do you want me to go back to the rat? Because I can do that.
Understood. Go ahead.
So basically what happens is that if this is you, you are constantly getting all sorts of impulses from all around. So there are hundreds of people around you, and they're all sending you impulses. So the way they look, the way they sound, the way they walk, their gestures, their signaling, all these things come to you in the form of patterns. So different patterns, and your brain is continuously analyzing them, putting them into their respective boxes. This means this, this means this. Now, at some point, your sex drive is going up. So your hormones are going up. Now, suddenly, there is this whole other box that your brain has to put these patterns into, saying, does this pattern make this person a potential partner?
Mate.
A mate. Right? And all of these things, so all your senses, sight, sound, smell, touch, hopefully not taste, but everything that, so suppose they cook for you, I mean, everything, all the impulses that they are sending across, they're all getting broken down into these patterns, and your brain is filing them into different categories.
Which is why smell is like such a big attraction factor for people, right? Pheromones, etc.
Yes. Yes, brilliant. I'm glad you said that. So the reason smell is specifically important is because in the brain, there is a area called as thalamus, and the thalamus is kind of like a security guard.
Yeah.
Okay. And the security guard is standing at the door and saying, you can come in, you cannot, you stay out, you come in. So all the other senses have to go through the thalamus, except the smell.
Smell can sneak in, you're saying?
Smell can sneak in directly.
Why?
Which is why smell is irresistible, right?
Because it is one of the earliest senses to evolve, and pheromones was a very early form of signaling.
Now all the Dio ads suddenly make sense. All the Dio ads.
So this is the evolutionary version of Axe effect.
Got it.
This is basically that.
Yeah, that's what it becomes.
So smell is unique in that sense. So it can directly hit you, so to speak. Right? Now what will happen? All these patterns are coming in. So there are thousands of patterns, millions of patterns. Somewhere, one pattern will click. Now, you may not be aware that it has clicked, or you may be aware, it doesn't matter. But once it clicks, there is one pattern that seems to fit with your perception of what is good for you. Now, it is very subjective, but the higher up you go in evolution, the more subjective it becomes. The lower you go, the less subjective it becomes. It becomes very clear cut. There are more clear guidelines as to what is attractive in somebody and not. And in humans, it becomes lesser and lesser clear. But somewhere it clicks, and this acts like a trigger, and it starts what you can think of as a chain reaction. So after this, it is all like it's like an atom bomb. It will just go on and on and on. Okay. So when we think of falling in love, we think of it as a binary, like, oh, are you in love or not? But it's sort of not like that. So if this click happened here, the sensation of love will happen somewhere here.
And after that, he ghosts you. Okay, sorry. sorry.
This is, I feel like there is an undercurrent of a therapy session also happening here. I'm not sure.
You know, what's incredible in this is, now that you said falling in love is one click, and that's a trigger that starts an entire chain reaction. So you can never know. This is like coronavirus, because you might get infected later, but the effects come that's flattened the curve in its initial form.
Yeah, and then you go on ventilator.
Right. So if you socially distance here, you can flatten the curve.
Hilarious.
But yeah, this metaphor can be taken a lot further. But okay, we won't do that. All right. So this is roughly what happens. So what makes this graph go up? So here you have a lot of hormones.
Correct.
Okay. So the fundamental hormones I already told you. You have testosterone and estrogen. So this is what led to the backdrop against which all of this is happening. And then you recognize the pattern. There was a click. And as soon as there is a click, just think of what that click.
Imagine that this folder is a dimensional plane. Now, assuming that it is no height and no depth, what would this mean? It would mean that it's a one-dimensional world. So if, hypothetically, an organism was living inside of it, it would only be able to move in a linear path forward and backwards in a straight line. Now, if we go to the second dimension, we have two dimensions. We have width and we have length. So hypothetically, if an organism lived inside of here, then it would be able to move up, down, left, right, and anywhere else in between. And a two-dimensional world is comprised of an infinite series of one-dimensional worlds stacked upon each other. Just as our three-dimensional world, which has depth and length and height, is comprised of an infinite series of two-dimensional worlds. So now that I have stacked many folders upon each other, we have three dimensions. We have depth, we have length, and we have width. Now what happens if you keep going on from here on out? We would have a four-dimensional world, but what exactly is a fourth dimension? In order to understand this, we need to understand how dimensions are perceived. We live in the three-dimensional world, but despite that, we actually view things to be two-dimensionally. Take a perfect sphere, for example. If you're looking at a sphere, it looks just like a regular two-dimensional circle. The only way that you can tell it's an actual sphere instead of a circle is because of the hues of light on it. So just like in a two-dimensional world, if a organism in the two-dimensional world was looking upon a circle, the light would make it appear to be lighter at one end and darker in the middle. Also, if an object is moving closer and farther away from you, you don't actually perceive that it's getting closer and farther away. You see that it's getting smaller or larger, and then you assume that it's getting either farther away or closer. But let's say that an object was to grow in perfect equilibrium, so that it was growing at the same speed that it was shrinking as you move it farther away. Then you would not be able to tell, without any lights or if there were details on the object, that it's moving or growing at all. You may have assumed that since we perceive things to be in two dimensions, that a two-dimensional organism would see in one dimension. So, as we're watching this rubber band expand as it moves farther away